Hello, we're back. In episode 29, I said we'd be talking about the Invader port to the Commodore VIC-20 in BASIC. The unexpanded VIC-20 only has about 3.5K of RAM available for BASIC programs. The other thing that made it difficult to program is its 22-column display. I touched on this with the Commodore 64 BASIC version of Invader as well. That machine has a 40-column display, almost twice as wide, and it was still difficult to keep track of your code on that display. So that is why I used the CBM PRG Studio IDE to write Invader in BASIC on the VIC-20, as the memory limitations are challenging enough. So here's my Invader BASIC code in CBM PRG Studio, and this is the 6502 assembly language version that we looked at on the VIC-20 back in episode 26. We can run these side by side and compare them as well. So if we look at the assembly version that we viewed a few episodes back, you'll see that it has colored characters and shows the explosions properly when the turret or invader get hit. Remember, the VIC-20 does not have hardware sprites. That is why the movement of the characters is so choppy, as it moves in character spaces, which is 8 pixels at a time minimum. There are ways around this to get smooth movement of characters, but it takes quite a bit more memory than we have on an unexpanded machine, and that was my target for this exercise. Now we'll take a look at the BASIC version. And you'll notice a few concessions. First is the lack of color. I also simplified the destroy animations, and there is no sound. I kept running out of memory. I even removed my comments in order to fit the game in the allotted 3.5K, making the code even harder to read and debug later on. So I've generated a .prg file and copied it to the SD card that we will now try on our real Commodore VIC-20. First, let's take a look at just how almost impossible it is to read the actual BASIC code in just 22 columns and without comments. Back in the early 80s, I wrote a bunch of game demos on my VIC-20 this way, and let me tell you, it was a challenge, but got me started on my road to the video game industry. Let's run it and see how it looks on here. So that about wraps up episode 30 of My Journey in Game Programming. Please like and subscribe, leave any comments or suggestions you may have that could make these a better experience. Next episode, I will be showing a port of Invader to the BrainPad Pulse in MakeCode Arcade, Python, and C#. Until then, bye. I'll talk to you next time.